Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. I'm coming to you from the picturesque Nelson Bay, and one of my goals of Jim's 5am Club is to showcase and highlight the beauty of this magnificent country that we live in, and to overlay it with a message of empowerment where we can live, learn and pass it on, take some messages, take OPE, other people's experience, and blend it into our lives so that we can get through the day, get through the week, and hopefully learn and be better versions of ourselves. I'm planning on getting on that ferry at 8:30 and going across the tea gardens. It's one of those grey old winter days here at Nelson Bay, as you can see, and it's been raining. It's been raining all night, it's been storming, but it's quite flat on the bay, and given it's a Sunday morning, I might just go for a ferry ride for an hour just to pass my time, as my beautiful wife Paula is still sleeping, and I'll grab a couple of coffees and go and surprise her later on in the morning. What I want to do this morning though is I want to go through a book summary entitled 12 Rules for Life by an awesome author known as Jordan Peterson, and this book is a real popular book, and he sold many copies, and has some powerful lessons for each and every one of us. Because at the end of the day, one of the other goals of Jim's 5am Club is for us to become partners in each other's growth and development, because we all have something different to offer. We all have skills, we all have gifts which can complement and supplement our gifts. And there's plenty of things, as I said before, that we can gain by working together as opposed to going out or one off. So what I'll do here is we'll just go through this book here. And the author makes a very valid and very powerful point, that happiness in life is fleeting and unpredictable. That in itself is such a powerful statement, and something that a lot of people don't get. A lot of people strive for happiness and think that happiness is a destination, that if they marry the trophy wife or secure the trophy husband or have the postcode, the beautiful house and the prestige cars and all the money in the world and all the fame in the world, that they'll be happy, that they will have arrived at destination happiness and live happily ever after. But as we learn, as the years go by in life, that it's never ever like that. So life is a lot more complicated, life is a lot more fleeting and unpredictable, as the author says. So the first formal point to come out of this book from this author is where he says that before you judge the world, take responsibility first for your own life. And because life isn't fair, and we need to accept it, we need to appreciate it, and we need to know it. People need to remind us and tell us that life isn't fair, and to get on with it, I guess, is the bottom line. And the author says that for all the things that happen to us in our lives, there are 4 reasonable responses to the absurdity of life. You can refuse reality and deny it. You can gain pleasure from it. You can throw up your arms and give up and commit suicide, or you can just hold on and make the most of it is what the author is suggesting being the 4 things to look at. And no matter how unfair life gets, this is an important point as well. This is a good point. I love this point. No matter how unfair your life gets, you should never blame the world for where you are and how you got there. This is what I absolutely loved about Prince Philip, because Prince Philip, his early life was one with many problems. His father was a philanderer, ended up marrying somebody else and leaving, and he lived in boarding schools, and his life was just one big mess for many years. But the commentators said that regardless of what happened to him, he never ever complained or put blame on other people. He just got on with life, and that was the basis for his Duke of Edinburgh awards, which many students have enjoyed over the years. Because what we learn, and what we'll all learn in our lives, is that given time, bad times pass. Because we all need to learn to hold on, because this too shall pass, is the big lesson from this book, from this author. So hold on, hang on, and things will get better. The other point that the author makes, which I like a lot, and it's something that a lot of us can gain from, is that we need to care for ourselves in the way you would care for a loved one. So it's all about self-care, identifying that you too are worthy of love, of your self-love, and by looking after yourself and caring for yourself, you're putting yourself into a position that other people will also want to love as well. Interestingly enough, the author mentions here that 1/3 of people don't listen to their doctor and don't take proper care of themselves. And a lot of this is coming to the fore with COVID-19, and you get to see that there is a lot of people who don't listen to their doctor, who prefer to listen to Google or to a few of the conspiracy theorists on Google, and make important decisions about their lives based on spurious misrepresentations and misinformation that are doing the rounds at the moment. So the important thing is to have experts, people that you can trust, and take their advice, is what's coming from this book. Because by not looking after yourself, by not taking advice, what you're doing is that you're creating a subversive form of self-punishment. One of the worst things that we can do to ourselves is to undermine ourselves through our own stupidity, through our own pig-headedness. So self-punishment is one of those things. Self-sabotage is also another thing that people need to be careful of and keep guard to. Because interestingly enough, and this is I can't understand this, people will look after their dog better than what they look after themselves. They'll organise for their dog to have vaccinations, but they won't prioritise vaccination or the best of health for themselves. They'll organise for walkers to take their dog for a walk. They'll feed their dog the best food possible. But when it comes to themselves, they don't do the right thing by themselves. So the author also talks about the importance of understanding that, there are positives and negatives in our lives. There's salt and pepper, there's yin and yang. We need both in order to get the most out of our lives. And the next point that the author talks about here is that we need to seek meaning through sacrifice and not to seek pleasure or happiness through pleasure. Once again, this is something that a lot of people don't get. They spend their lives seeking pleasure, seeking happiness with everything they do, but they don't understand that you need both light and darkness. You need happiness and suffering in order to find the one through reflection of the other. So most importantly, we need to have balance in our lives, and we need to remember that pleasure and happiness is only temporary and they fade very quickly. But suffering and happiness are residents of the same location. You'll find both living together, and you won't just find happiness on its own or suffering on its own. You need one to be able to appreciate the other, and vice versa. So not all sacrifices also are equal. This is another important thing that I wasn't quite aware of, but I appreciate more now. Not all sacrifices are equal. So working overtime to go on holidays and pay for a holiday is not the same as volunteering your time on a Saturday to help people in need. Doing something for the greater good, to benefit somebody else, is a greater thing to be wary of. So as I said, sacrifice is not about giving up rewards, but in deferring rewards for a later date. It's a sense of wholeness and contentment which come with doing something for the greater good. And the reason why I got vaccinated for COVID-19 is because of my social conscience, to do it for the greater good. The Prime Minister says it, the Premier says it, my Archbishop says it, my doctor says it. It's for the greater good. So that's one of the things that we all need to consider, rather than sit and laugh and point a finger and talk about conspiracy theories. To understand that we are part of a community, we are part of a society, and whatever we do, we need to do for the greater good. And the author finishes off with a really interesting and powerful metaphor where he talks about the lotus flower. And the lotus flower is something that begins its life in darkness at the bottom of the lake, fully drenched with water, with no hope of a better life. But eventually it grows and it reaches the surface, and it breaks through the surface and it finds the sunlight. And so with patience, we are also able to live the life of the lotus flower, to become magnificent like the lotus flower, by just being patient and reaching the surface when the time is right. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where I'm coming to you from the picturesque Nelson Bay. I'm just going to get on that ferry and just go for a trip across up to the other side. So I'll cut it off early. So I'll finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable. And let's make the most of this Sunday, where we can be partners in each other's growth and development, and we can live, learn and pass it on, and of course be the wind beneath our sails, and make every post a winner. It's dark, it's mysterious, and this is the sort of weather that I absolutely enjoy. So take care, yasas, and we'll chat again. Let me just turn it around, and it'll be me on that ferry by myself by the looks of it. But let's make the most of it. Yasas, I'll give you a 360 showing you where I am, and enjoy your Sunday. And let's hope we see a dolphin or two as we're travelling across, and maybe even a rainbow. I'll get my words out. Yasas, bye for now. Ciao.